Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I am in Los Angeles, California, and I'm at HealthSpan Summit. Let me tell you, Elias and his team put on quite a show. This is a 2-day event. We're on day 2 right now, and the next guest I have on is Zander. Zander, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Glad to be here.
All right, so first off, HealthSpan Summit. Have you been to one of these before? Is this the first one? Like, what's the connection to the conference?
First summit for me.
A newbie. Tell me about your experience.
I'm a newbie, yeah. So it's been a wonderful summit. We ran into Elias at the Mission Matters Leadership Conference earlier this year. So we had brought our experiences down there, ran into Elias, got to talking, and he invited us out here to check out the
love it. The
conference.
community out here, the longevity, the space. I mean, it's booming, and I love to be on the front line of that.
100%.
So talk to us about your company, Zander.
Yeah, so Settle Immersive creates audiovisual experiences that provide an opportunity for people to regulate and regulate their nervous system, come down from high stimulus, high stress environments immersed in artwork and music.
So tell me, how did you originally come up with this idea?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I had left my last job at Bird Scooters, and I was looking at the next opportunity. I'd been looking for the next role, thinking about what I might want to do. And I had been thinking when I was at Bird about a relaxation pod for the office environment. Yeah. We used to take breaks in the Zoom pods where you go take a conference, right? We'd go in there for 20 minutes just to take a break, listen to music.
Those things are cool, by the way. I've never had the luxury of working at a place that had one, but I always wanted to. Go ahead, continue.
They're great.
They're just cool.
They're great. I would go in there, open up my laptop, listen to music, and just take a break, right?
Yeah.
My father makes musical instruments. He makes a type of drum that's tuned so that anybody can play, anybody can make beautiful music. And I'd been thinking about this idea of taking an instrument like that that's accessible for anybody, putting it in a pod in an office environment where people could take a break from the meetings, take a break from the hustle, and go be in music for a couple of minutes.
Wow. So kind of like this idea of the pod, you'd be like taking a little nap or whatever else. This is like you're kind of like going to, I guess, really hit on that right brain, right? Like you're bringing just like, let me go pound on the creative side of the brain for a little bit and wake me up.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, an artistically facilitated or musically facilitated reset, middle of the day, kind of an enhanced break. So I've been thinking about this. I went all the way to talking to my dad about getting a prototype of a drum that would inset into one of these pods. And I was talking to my older sister about it. At the time, she was working on an immersive album that was for, she was calling it the Adult Lullaby Project. And this was music that was mixed in spatial audio to serve the purpose for helping adults facilitate coming down at the end of the day and really kind of regulating from the stress.
An adult lullaby.
Correct.
I'm in. Go ahead, continue.
So she's here. She came across the idea to put some visuals to this album, right? Yeah. She wanted to pair some immersive visuals with the music, and she hit me up. She said, hey, you're a project manager. Can you help me put some structure around this and try to get this thing off the ground, make a demo? So we did. We made a demo of AI-generated visuals that went along with one of the pieces of music she was working with.
Yeah.
And as we got to talking, working on this, we started to realize there was a lot of synergy between me sort of thinking about the burnout and stress that I faced in the corporate office environment, and then what she was trying to solve for with, seeing anxiety out in the world and wanting to help people regulate and come down.
Yeah.
So this kind of synergy kept coming up, and we finally said, well, what if we do both? What if we try to do both? We'll merge the ideas. One thing led to another, and then we incorporated about 3 months later. So that's where we started.
And so how did you know that this was going to be like something that you were going to spend a lot of time on? As entrepreneurs, this is where I'm coming at with this question. A lot of entrepreneurs at home, a lot of people watch this, and sometimes we have ideas, but like then do we take them to the finish line of like getting to a product? How did you know? Was it one of those things you could like, or did you know?
In a sense, I've been working on this product my entire life.
Wow.
Right? So I grew up around art and music. My dad's a drum builder. My co-founder, by the way, is my sister.
Yeah.
So I'll say
cool.
our dad.
Of course, that's cool.
Mom. Yeah, our dad's a drum builder. Our mom teaches piano. Both of us have grown up in music. Our brother as well. I grew up playing classical piano, singing in choirs. And then through our dad's business building drums, we were attending art shows, from the time we could walk and before. So we've always been immersed in artwork and music. It's been here. I started dancing in college, and this has been part of my course. So when I say I've been maybe working on this my entire life, for me, it's been a growing connection with artwork and music. It's always been there. The arts have always been there for me. And so once this came along, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer thing because there's one thing I have faith in. It's the primal sort of power of music and of art. And so each day, that's what we're channeling,
So talk to me about where you're at with the company today and like visions for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want the mission vision or the strategic vision?
I want them both.
You want
All
them
of
both?
them.
Yeah. So, I mean, the mission for us is to be everywhere. And that's kind of a useless
Of course.
comment from an execution perspective. But the goal for us is giving people that are experiencing stress or experiencing high stimulation, which we live in a very high stimulus world right now, giving them a tool to relax and reset. A tool that in under 10 minutes, they can immerse themselves in something compelling, something awe-inspiring and beautiful that does them some good in that day. And so, I mean, the mission is for this to be as easy to find as walking down to the next Starbucks down the street, right?
Yeah. Now, talk to me about a little bit about the strategic rollout side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thesis for us was rolling out via live events. So we were looking to sell through producers, event promoters, and bring the experiences, bring the installations to events. It was at Sundance this year. We got into a number of conversations about permanent installations. We started talking to people about corporate office environments. We spoke to a woman who was in HR for an investment banking firm, and she said, hey, my investment bankers are stressed out. Could you do something like this in the office? You know, could you bring it in? We met a gentleman who was building a longevity clinic in the Middle East, and he said, are these experiences something that you guys could bring out to an environment like this? So through these conversations, it got us thinking that perhaps permanent installations didn't need to be a second order. Perhaps that was the starting point. And live events is really the place where you get exposure, meet people, network, etc. So that's really been the focus, is selling permanent installations.
What does it look like to have an installation? Like, talk to me about like some of the different, and I'm sure it's customized per experience, per what they're looking for, but like, so people can kind of wrap their head around what that looks like that aren't here today.
Yeah, of course. So we consider ourselves content first. We start with the content, we start with the music and the artwork, and then we think about how to package that. And how to package that is really a multimodal affair, right? Depending on the needs of where we're going. Virtual reality is one of the modals that we work with, and this is nice because it's portable and it's individual. Of course. So if there's a space we don't have a dedicated room, maybe it's just a couch on the side of a venue, we can take VR headsets. If we've got a dedicated room to work with, we build what we call settle spaces. And settle spaces can take a number of factors depending on the capabilities of the room. From a visual perspective, we typically either have one live wall or a multi-surface installation. That can be LED walls or projection walls. On the audio side, if we've got the capability, we'll build a full spatial audio array. We can talk about spatial audio later. That's a really compelling sonic envelope. If there's not space or budget to build that type of array, we'll work with binaural headphones, and that would be an individualized audio experience.
So either way, it sounds like if a company wanted, like, they had obviously a lot of space, you could do like the full gambit. But if they don't, and all they have, if they had a corner, it sounds to me like, based on headphones or other things, like there can be some form of this created so that their employees can unplug and get creative and kind of get recharged. Am I off on that? I want to make sure I understand.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So if we've got a dedicated room, we're always going to be recommending we build a settle space.
Of course.
And the cocoon is the physical environment that we build. If we don't have that dedicated room, we build what we're calling flow stations. And Settle Flow was actually born out of Sundance. This is something we were asked to do by some partners down there called Lumati. You may be familiar with them. They're here at the summit. And Lumati said, well, at the end of the lounge that we've got, what if we just have a giant screen? You do a bank of headphones. What does that look like? And our response was,
let's
medium?
figure it out.
Well, no, the response was, well, that's not going to be fully immersive. They're just going to be sitting in front of a screen. It's just headphones. We thought it was, fine. So we built it. We rolled it out. Much to our delight, the first day we came down there, people were rolling through the clinic, taking a seat, putting the headphones on, and loved that they could come and go sort of freely. They could stay for 60 seconds. They could stay for 10 minutes. And the experience loops about every 5 minutes. So there was this kind of nimbleness to flow.
Interesting. So you weren't expecting that, right?
We were not. We were shocked. So it's modular. It's easy for people to flow through. And this took us to thinking about flow, to your point, in an environment, say an office, an airport, somewhere that's kind of a concourse thoroughfare. People can step to the side where they've got, a live wall, and got a bank of headphones. They can tune in, stay for a minute, stay for 10, whatever they need.
And you mentioned content first. So how does the content piece of it work? Is it, obviously there's one experience, like in that case you mentioned about Sundance, and that's going to loop. But for an office environment or for something else, is the content being refreshed, or like what does that look like?
Yeah, correct. So we'll be building out our content library. What we're thinking of right now is we think of content in generations of experiences, each generation having its its own artistic identity, right? So one generation from a visual perspective may be really centered around movement and dance, and then the music comes along with that. Another generation may be heavily orchestral by nature in the music, and then the visuals are done by a different artist.
Yeah.
So we're expanding that library over time. With the permanent office installations, what we do is we build the installation up front, and then there's a subscription to that library of content that's continually refreshed over time.
And what becomes interesting there then is for the employees, they stay engaged, right? So they may be able to have their favorite, but then it's like, oh, by the way, we're unrolling or we're unveiling this next thing or next generation, I think you called it.
That's right.
Wow. So then that makes it to where it's also fresh for everyone so that they don't get bored. I mean, you don't want to see the exact content every time forever. So you want to make sure, especially for a company that's going to be, dedicating the space or building out the full cocoon, I believe you called it.
Absolutely.
Then that makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. And the way we think about programming those rooms, if we have a settle space, is we've got what we call our feature experiences. That's going to be a 6-minute dedicated experience from one of these generations of content. In between that, in the room, you're not just hitting feature experience. We've got sort of, call it an ambient default experience that's in there that's a little more cyclic and a little more passive. So that will go for, let's say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in a passive mode. Somebody can sit in, enjoy the room, sort of be calm, but they're not being hit with the full experience. Yeah.
Well, Zander, just saying, man, first off, it's been great having you on the show. Last thing I want you to do, look into the camera. How do people connect? How do they bring these experiences to their office and or a event? Yeah.
Best way to connect with us is to email info@settle.ai. You can also find our website, settle.ai, and reach out to us there.
Fantastic. And for everybody at home watching, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Zander, man, appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Adam.